The truck seemed to speed up again, faster now, as if it knew I had given up. The road blurred past, becoming nothing more than a dark streak in the corner of my eye. I was no longer controlling the truck, no longer in control of anything. Every turn felt like I was being pulled into something deeper, something darker. And the further we went, the more I felt it. The eyes of something watching us, watching me. I tried to focus on the road ahead, but it was like the world around me was falling apart. The trees, the ones that had seemed to stretch endlessly along the road, began to distort. They bent unnaturally, their branches twisting like skeletal fingers reaching toward the truck. They weren't just trees anymore. They looked like they were alive in a way that didn't make sense. Like they were part of something darker, something that wanted me to see them, wanted me to know that I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone on this road. I had to stop looking at them. I turned my gaze back to the windshield, trying to force myself to focus on the only thing that seemed real, the road. But that's when I saw it. The first sign of something that wasn't right, something that made my blood freeze. There, just off the side of the road, was a figure, a man, or what looked like a man, standing in the shadows. His outline was barely visible, his face obscured by the darkness, but there was something about the way he stood that sent a wave of terror crashing over me. The figure didn't move, didn't make a sound, but I could feel it. He was waiting for something. I slammed on the brakes, my heart hammering in my chest. The truck jolted, but it didn't stop. The world outside the cab was a blur of dark shapes and twisted trees, but the figure remained frozen in the corner of my eye. The truck didn't slow. It didn't care. I was trapped again, just like before. The passenger, the man beside me, had been silent for a while, but now he spoke, his voice cold, calm. "Don't look at it. You'll see things you won't be able to unsee." I couldn't help it. I turned to him, my breath shallow, my hands gripping the wheel like it was the only thing keeping me anchored. "What is this?" I asked, my voice breaking. "What's happening?" He didn't look at me. His gaze remained fixed on the road, but his lips curled into the faintest of smiles. "You should have left when you had the chance." I didn't understand what he meant. I hadn't had a choice. I had stopped. I had tried to leave, but the road, whatever it was, wouldn't let me. It was pulling me, dragging me deeper into this nightmare. "Why can't I leave?" I asked, my voice cracked with desperation. The passenger's eyes flickered toward me, his face expressionless. "Because this road doesn't let people leave. It traps them. Once you drive on it, you're never really gone. It's part of you, and it's part of me." I felt a cold wave wash over me, like ice had just slipped under my skin. I wasn't just on any road. This was a place that had somehow become something more, a place where people didn't leave, a place that were forgotten, lost to the night forever. The passenger continued, his voice colder now. "Every mile you drive, every minute you stay, the road takes a piece of you. It keeps you, just like it kept the others." I tried to speak, but my throat tightened. The words wouldn't come. I knew, somehow, I knew that this wasn't just about being stuck on a road. This wasn't just some random place. It was something much darker, something that had taken hold of me the moment I let that stranger into my truck. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The passenger's lips twisted into a smile, but it wasn't a smile that reassured me. It was the kind of smile that made you feel small, insignificant. "I'm the one who leads you here, and I'm the one who leads you out." The truck lurched again, and the road began to twist even further. The trees that had once seemed like shadows now appeared to stretch impossibly far, their garnered branches reaching toward the truck as if they were trying to grab hold of it. I looked at the passenger, my heart racing, but he just sat there, his eyes on the road, unblinking. He knew something. He knew everything. Suddenly, the truck veered to the left and I gripped the wheel, trying to regain control, but it was as if the road itself was steering me. I was no longer driving the truck was driving me. I tried to steer back, but it was no use. The wheel wouldn't budge. The road was taking me somewhere, and I didn't know where that somewhere was. I turned to the passenger, my panic growing. "What is this place? Why can't I get off? Why can't I leave?" The passenger didn't respond at first. He just kept looking ahead. But then, slowly, he spoke again, his words so quiet that I could barely hear them over the roar of the engine. "It's the place that waits, and you'll never escape. Not until you understand this road takes something from you. It takes your soul." I blinked, trying to make sense of his words. My head was spinning, my chest tight with fear. No, that's not possible. It's just a road, a stretch of highway. This can't be real." He turned to me then, and for the first time, his gaze was direct, his eyes locking onto mine. "You're still here, aren't you? The road is real, and so is the price you'll pay for traveling on it." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I was trapped. There was no way out. I didn't know how or why, but somehow I understood. The road had claimed me, and now it wouldn't let me go, no matter how hard I tried. I looked ahead, but all I saw was darkness. The road stretched on forever, and I had no choice but to follow it. And that was when it hit me. I wasn't just on a road. I was in a loop, a cycle that repeated itself, pulling me in deeper each time. The towns I'd passed, the landmarks I thought I knew, none of it was real. None of it existed outside this road. This was the only thing that was real now. And the longer I stayed, the more I lost. I could feel my breath coming faster, my heartbeat pounding in my chest. The world around me was closing in, the trees growing darker, the road stretching on and on. There was no way out. I thought I understood, but I was wrong. I thought the road couldn't get any worse, that it was just some twisted nightmare I couldn't escape. But the truth, whatever truth that was far worse than I ever could have imagined. The road kept pulling me forward, and every mile felt like an eternity. The engine roared beneath me, louder than it ever had before, and the trees on either side of the truck twisted and contorted in unnatural ways. They were no longer trees, they were monstrous, reaching out with gnarled, skeletal branches like they were trying to grab the truck, trying to drag me into their dark depths. It felt as if the woods were alive, watching, waiting for the moment when I'd be lost forever. I wasn't alone on this road, not anymore. I wasn't even alone in the truck. I had the passenger beside me, yes, but there was more than just him. Something else was with us, something unseen. Something that wasn't human. I tried to stay calm, tried to keep my focus on the road ahead, but the truck wouldn't let me. It kept pulling me further down this never-ending path, a path that seemed to have no end, no exit. I was trapped. The passenger, if that's what he was, hadn't spoken much since I started asking questions, but now I could feel his eyes on me. The weight of his stare made my skin crawl, and it took everything in me to keep my eyes on the road. He was silent, but I knew he was waiting for something. He was waiting for me to crack, to give in. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice shaky despite my best efforts to keep it steady. He didn't respond at first. I didn't even know if he had heard me. But then, after what felt like an eternity, he spoke. His voice, low and cold. "You're not supposed to ask that," he said, his words dripping with something sinister. "The road decides where you go. It decides where we all go." The chill in his voice made my stomach tighten. This wasn't just a road. It wasn't just some strange stretch of highway that had gotten stuck in my head. This road was alive. It had a mind of its own. And I was its prisoner. I tried to shake the thought away, tried to focus on something else, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized how true it was. I couldn't control the truck. I couldn't control where it was taking me. The road was deciding, pulling me further into its depths. I wasn't driving anymore. I was just a passenger on a road that had already claimed too many others.
The truck began to feel different. It wasn't just a vehicle anymore. It felt like part of the road, part of the curse that had taken hold of me. The windows grew colder, the air inside the cab thicker, and the headlights no longer illuminated the road. They only seemed to cast more shadows, stretching endlessly into the dark. I glanced around, desperate to find something, anything that made sense. But there was nothing. Just trees. Just dark shadows. The road ahead was more blackness, and the road behind was nothing but an empty stretch of highway that seemed to vanish into eternity. And then, I saw it. In the distance. A figure. A person. Or something that looked like a person, standing in the middle of the road. My heart skipped a beat. My breath hitched in my throat. The truck was still moving forward, faster now, and I couldn't stop it. I slammed my foot on the brake, but the truck didn't slow. The figure stood there, unmoving, as if it was waiting for me to get closer. I couldn't look away. I felt a cold sweat break out across my forehead as the truck sped toward the figure. It was a man, or at least it looked like a man. He was tall, his features obscured by the darkness, but the feeling of dread that washed over me was unmistakable. This wasn't just a random person on the road. This was someone, or something, that belonged to the road. The truck got closer. The figure didn't move. It was like he was part of the road, like the trees, like the dark shadows that surrounded me. It was like he had been waiting for me to get close enough so he could trap me here, just like all the others. The passenger next to me spoke again, his voice like ice. "You're not supposed to look at him." I didn't have time to react. Before I could even process his words, the figure in front of the truck stepped forward. My heart raced. The truck was about to hit him, but the figure didn't flinch, didn't move out of the way. It was like he wanted me to hit him, like he was daring me to. Just as the truck was about to collide with the figure, everything stopped. The world seemed to freeze. I felt the truck's wheels screech to a halt, but it wasn't because I had braked. It was like the truck had stopped on its own. I couldn't move. My hands were frozen on the wheel, my body tense, but I couldn't get myself to act. My eyes were glued to the figure, now just inches away from the front of the truck. The figure looked at me, and for the first time, I saw his face. But what I saw wasn't human. His eyes were empty, hollow, dark pits that seemed to swallow everything in their gaze. His face was pale, deathly pale, and his lips were stretched into a twisted smile, like he knew something I didn't, like he knew I was trapped here just like all the others. And then, with a voice that sounded like it came from the deepest parts of hell, he spoke. "You can't escape. You never will." The words hung in the air, chilling me to the bone. I wanted to scream, but my voice wouldn't come. I wanted to get out, to run, but my body was paralyzed with fear. And then, in an instant, the figure was gone. The truck lurched forward, as if nothing had even happened, as if the figure had never even been there. The road stretched out ahead of me again, dark and endless. But the silence, the weight of what I had just seen, didn't leave. It stayed with me, pressing in, making it harder to breathe. I knew then that the road wasn't just some place. It wasn't just some strange stretch of highway that had gotten stuck in my head. This road was a trap, a place where people like me got lost forever. And the worst part? I wasn't the first. I wouldn't be the last.